Hello, I'm Pafu Yang in Maple Grove. Here's a few of the stories making news today.
How can I help you?
This is going to be a theme in the New Hope Police Department under new Chief Tim Hoyt.
9 times out of 10, we just want to come there and mediate and help you get through the problem that you're going through.
Hoyt has a 25-year career in law enforcement and has been with New Hope Police for the last 14 years. He knows the community and is going to make engagement with it a cornerstone of the department.
Change is good. We need to listen to the public. We need to get out there. We need to speak with the public. And we need to speak with all ages of the citizens and ask them, what can we do better?
Hoyt acknowledges that society has changed and being in law enforcement now is different from when he first started. He knows that the key to breaking down barriers is communication.
I think our culture is going to shift a little bit to where everybody has told me, boy, there has to be all these mass changes in law enforcement. Yes, there are some things that I think that need to be changed, but I think there has to be a lot more positive community contacts between our officers and the residents.
Another of the chief's goals is to further diversify the force.
I'm looking for men and women that will mirror our community.
Right now, staffing is his biggest concern. Hoyt has a vision that sees a much greater collaboration between city departments and residents to solve problems for a better New Hope.
I'm an optimist. I like to think that we're going up.
In New Hope, Neil Persley, CCX News.
When COVID-19 forced some people to stay at home, binge eating went into overdrive for some people.
Here at Melrose Center, we have seen, record volumes of patients coming through our doors.
Melrose Center provides care for all types of eating disorders. Dr. Heather Gallivan says between all 5 locations, including Maple Grove, they've seen more assessments scheduled now than ever before.
We typically treat about 3,000 people here a year across our different locations. We have 5 sites across the metro area. And last month, I think we brought in more than 200 new patients.
Not only are people binging food to cope and comfort themselves during the pandemic, others have actually reported eating less.
There's a lot of shame and guilt that come with all the eating disorders. And I think one thing that's been very difficult with this pandemic is kind of that increased isolation.
Gallivan says through isolation, it's much easier for someone to hide an eating disorder.
So I think the science behind it is there likely are some biological manifestations that can put people at higher risk for developing an eating disorder. And then things in our environment can then sort of be the trigger that the disorder may be expressed, if that makes sense.
Some factors that trigger eating disorders include family dynamics and a person's temperament or personality.
If someone is struggling with an eating disorder, or they think they might have an eating disorder, they have a loved one with an eating disorder, or someone they're concerned about, encouraging them to get help. Although we are in a pandemic, the beauty of this pandemic has been the onset of broad use of telehealth.
In addition to professional health, doctors recommend everyone to stay on a routine such as eating regularly throughout the day and getting exercise.
It's hard for us to feel comfortable talking about those things, but right now more than ever, it's really important to reach out to people you might be worried about and ask them how they're doing.
Pafu Yang, CCX News.
Evergreen is tucked back in a little neighborhood here in Brooklyn Center. It is just a gem in this neighborhood.
Like many schools in Minnesota,
we're looking for critters in the water. Why is it good to know?
The start of the 2020 school year has been out of the ordinary for Evergreen Park Elementary.
We're learning as we go and trying to adapt and change and meet our family's needs as we go also.
The school is currently in a hybrid model, with many families opting for full-time distance learning, which means that from Tuesday through Friday, there's only about 100 students in the building.
We're doing the social distancing, we have our masks. The kids have been amazing in learning the new routines to make sure that everybody stays safe, and they seem to really understand the purpose of why we are doing all of that, so they're helping us all out.
Yet the pandemic isn't the only reason why this school year is a little different here. After 2 years of planning, the school underwent a transformation. Instead of being a world cultures school, Evergreen Park is now a STEM school of innovation.
I think what people will start to see in the future is that there's a lot more hands-on learning, a lot more excitement for the kids around just the thinking processes that they can use. It's not only tied into our science and our math and our technology, but we're tying it into our reading and into our social studies.
When the school board initially approved the switch 2 years ago, nobody knew that the launch would coincide with a global pandemic. So 2020 is acting as a soft rollout for the science, technology, engineering, and math focus.
We all are in this together and doing the best we can, and they are doing some really amazing work to persevere through the challenges and the barriers that have come, and taking a look at we are still providing really amazing things for our kids. It just might be in a different format than we'd like.
For example, students at each grade level have their own specific focus. The fifth graders are innovators, so one activity they'll do involves taking a box and turning it into something new. The students in distance learning, however, just have to use the resources available to them at home.
They were encouraged to find the cereal box or find a box you might have gotten from a package you received, and then use materials at home in order to create something new and different.
What are some of the things that we've been doing for science?
The classes will look different and more hands-on whenever they're able to get all students back in the building. But for now, they're working to perfect a curriculum that will benefit students for years to come.
Our kids deserve it. Our kids deserve this opportunity to have these other pieces that come into them and support their learning, and it's exciting for them.
In Brooklyn Center, Delane Cleveland, CCX News.